So what was the best restaurant experience you've ever had in your life? I mean, what was about that amazing experience that you had? Do you have it yet? So was it the food? Was it the atmosphere? Was it the company that you were with? Was it a combination of all those things? Was it a particular time of your life where it was just like, oh, you know, you were traveling and you just had this one little meal and it was just, oh, over the top. So my best experience was the Willows Inn on Lummi Island. The chef Blaine Wetzel, kind of this, James Beard award-winning chef. It was just the most incredible 3-hour, I think it was actually closer to 4-hour dinner experience of a lifetime. And by me sharing this little bit of information about my best experience ever, I'm basically an evangelist. And if you've ever shared that really amazing restaurant experience that you had, you too are an evangelist. So when we actually think about the word lead generation, there's often a lot of negative associations with lead generation. And so for example, number one thing that kind of comes up is like with lead gen or lead generation is online lead generation. That's the association that we have. But we've got to actually start to think through, it's not just the online lead generation, it's any kind of opportunity, Kairos opportunity that I'm going to take where somebody's curious about real estate. And so we've got to start to have a philosophical approach to lead gen. And so again, just the word lead generation, that negative stereotype, maybe we also feel like, gosh, there's a little bit of unethical, I guess, association with that word, kind of the sleaziness or salesiness that I don't want to be associated with. So a lot of us actually will resist lead generation. We would much rather be a real estate professional and be an expert, of course, like we've been talking about. But lead generation, there's a beauty actually in becoming a lead generation evangelist or a specialist. And again, if we actually take the concept of the word evangelist, that actually just means good news. I know there's a lot of religious, or the primary association was a religious association with evangelist, and maybe some people think, why are you even using that word? But let me actually give it to you this way. There was a guy named Guy Kawasaki, and he was actually a technology, probably the very first technology evangelist or chief evangelist for Apple. And so he basically, his whole job was to talk about the awesomeness of Mac. That was kind of his job, about explaining to both internally as well as externally kind of the software and how great their software platform, because they were competing against Microsoft. So his whole job was to interpret and help people understand what the Mac software platform was all about and kind of their whole approach and philosophy and design and all those good things. And so that is basically kind of like saying that there's a different approach. There's kind of a good news to this. So when you yourself are thinking about lead gen evangelist, I want you to start thinking, gosh, if there's good news, if there's something good about real estate, about community, about property, about the market, about investment, about things that are, and again, real estate is so emotional. It's not just financial, but it's so emotional. We have these great ties and associations with home. And so if you are helping, if you're sharing good news about housing and, helping people in that space, then you need to have a very positive association as being an evangelist. In fact, there's such good news. So for example, let's just say that you found an amazing property that you just thought was so great, it was priced well, shows really well, the value is going to increase absolutely over the next year, 5 years, 10 years. If you had a customer for that particular property, man, they would do so well with that home. So you start sharing that home to people and just start talking about it. You're now becoming an evangelist, just like that amazing restaurant experience that you had. So you got to start thinking about it from that perspective. I'm going to share really good information so that it's beyond myself, my own. That's not about me and me just getting more business, but because I believe in what it is I'm sharing so much, that it's just naturally coming out of me. It's a natural sale that doesn't feel like overselling. It actually just feels very authentic. And like I'm an expert talking about the particular property or a situation that's involved there. So that's kind of the philosophical approach that we're going to have as we go into this entire show called Lead Gen Evangelist.